of freedom, the poetry of flight. How wonderful to soar and float up in the sky without a care in the world. I must have a word with the pilot who's flying it. Excuse me, are you the pilot of this glider? He's saying nothing, obviously because he is a member of the Wire Forest Association of Silent Flight, skilled remote controllers of model gliders, seekers after thermals, and they do not make your legs itch. Yes, they're the keen types who start our brand new series, a new series in which we'll be relentlessly pursuing the obsessions of all sorts of people. Later on in the program, the silent flyers will break their silence to tell us all about their fabulous sport. And what a collection we've got here. Look, you can see most of them behind me. They're all members of the British Association of Radio-Controlled Soarers, and they've got together today to show us some of the skills of their sport.
You ready?
Yep.
Wave your transmitter at him then, so he won't know.
Yep. We're off. Yep. She's going well. What's he doing?
Okay, he's just walking slowly, Stop, looking at it, walking slowly. You tell me when you're off. Walking slowly, he's looking at it now.
We've got good air here.
No, yes, he's looking at it. Walking away slowly, trotting away, looking up at it, running quite fast.
Right,
once
stand
you're
by.
off. Yeah, he's waving once you're off,
we've got
okay?
it.
Chris, what exactly does BARCS stand for?
Don, BARCS stands for the British Association of Radio Control Soarers.
And is everybody that goes radio control soaring, are they all here today?
Oh no, this is just a small, keen, representative group, I would say.
So there's more than this. I mean, how many in Great Britain actually get involved in this?
Oh, throughout the country I should think there are at least 2,000.
As many as that?
Yes.
And it sort of goes on winter and summer, does it?
It goes on all the year round now, yes.
And are there any, I don't see any ladies here today, are there any ladies involved?
There might be half a dozen, I should think, members of BARCS,
So
wives of members.
And they have to
male
compete
members.
with the fellas then?
Yes.
Well, that's as it should be.
Yeah.
How much would it cost? I mean, supposing I was starting from scratch, how much would it cost me? They don't look the sort of thing that you can go into a shop and buy, these gliders.
You can, actually, these days. But most of the keen people, BARCS members, like to build their own, design right from scratch, purchase their own materials, and so on. And so you're talking about something like £300–400 you can spend on a decent.
That includes the radio control module and everything.
Yes.
And is it very difficult to control them? I mean, you know, or is it just a case of wiggling a stick about?
It's difficult.
Is it?
Oh yes, yeah. You can't do it from scratch just like that. You've got to be able to get somebody who's already done it before to give you those first few lessons. It's like full-size gliding.
What sort of blokes fly model gliders, Dennis? Are they all frustrated airline pilots?
No, we haven't been able to establish what the common factor is, Don. We have all sorts of people. We have doctors, plumbers, butchers, bakers.
What do you do?
I work in environmental health. I do noise and air pollution.
Oh, noise pollution.
That's
So
right,
that's why
yes.
you're in the Silent Flight Association.
Couldn't have an engine on it, could I?
Not really, no. And so is that what you were actually trained for then?
Well, I was trained as a mechanical engineer. So it's,
Oh, well, that's unfair. I mean, so you're in it for the aerodynamics and everything, is that?
Oh yes, well I enjoy the building and the designing and so on. That's part of the fun as far as I'm concerned.
I suppose the real fun is having designed it, seeing whether it'll actually fly.
It's quite a feeling when you have had the whole concept of a model in your mind and you've designed it, built it, spent all winter building it, and then you take it out and you fly it. If it actually flies.
The thing I've not quite worked out is how you actually steer them and everything. I mean, there's no ailerons on the wings, is there, to steer them?
No. Well, with the models we can manage quite nicely just using the rudder and the elevator, and that's at the
So
back
it all
of the
goes. It all
aircraft.
happens at the tail.
That's right. Yes. So the steering is done fairly simply just by moving this stick here, which moves the rudder either to the left or the right.
I see. So that turns it from right to left.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then up and down is controlled by the position of the elevator, which is on that stick, which is either down or up.
Okay, hold it there a minute.
Well, this is it. This is the spot that all our glider pilots are aiming at. And I have with me now Andrew Jones, one of the aces. Does this number one refer to you, then, Andrew?
Not quite, no. This number one is marking spot number one. And this is the point where all the gliders are going to end up. Somewhere within 50 metres of this number.
50 metres, I mean...
50 feet, sorry.
Should
50
they
feet.
be able to get closer than that? I mean, is it highly skilled?
Oh yes, some of the pilots that are here today will be able to get within 2-3 feet of it. But 50 feet is the area that we call the spot because anywhere in that region you get extra points towards your flight time, which in competitions is vital if you're to do well. Once we've launched, which is done by a man towing up, like you would a kite, the model, there's a tow hook on it which you hook your line on, and when the model flies over the top of the tow man, the line releases, and you've then got to look for those thermals. These are the warm currents of rising air that we sit ourselves upon and rise with. You often see a bird marking a thermal, doing small circles in the sky. They're actually feeding at the time, but we use their guidance to find them and to stay with them and fly as long as we need to fly.
So in actual fact you follow the birds?
That is very true, yes.
I think I could be quite good at that. If you look over there, Andrew, you see they're just about ready for another launch. Perhaps you could talk us through this one.
Yeah. A slot is a period of time in which 7 models launch into the sky and compete against each other to get as time as close as they possibly can to 10 minutes.
Right, one's already off. now.
Yep, one's just launched away. Once one starts to go, they all tend to follow, so they get very similar air. One's keeled off, very hard tow. As he was running him up like a kite, he'd run a little too hard and it would pull the model off.
Oh,
Another
that came
one's
off
away.
by accident then?
Yep, that one came
I
off by
see.
accident. We've got 3, 4 going now. All the others are drifting up quite well. There's a strong wind, so the models are going up quite easily. The sky has broken quite well there now. Now the sun's had a chance to come through, it'll start to generate thermals, and if the pilots spot and use their knowledge and their experience to guess where they are actually, then they will get into a thermal and start to climb in it.
Do they sort of watch one another, and if one starts to
Oh,
thermal-
very much so, yes. Once one has got a thermal, everyone else will go to him. You often find that because people are competing against each other, rather than take a chance and go on their own, they'll stick with a pack,
Yeah.
which does mean that the times tend to be very similar and they aren't risking getting a bad score. And as there's organisation in the sport, involves leagues and world championships, you can't afford, if you want to do well, to ever have a bad flight.
World Championships?
World Championships, yes, held in York a couple of years ago. Los Angeles, Sydney, everywhere. One's struggling over the caravan park, attempting to find just very small pieces of lift. But he's going to break away now and he's going to come round towards his approach. The model that's got about a 16-foot wingspan has got air brakes in it. Now these will guide him in and will increase the rate of descent on the model, so the accuracy of getting the spot is improved. As he starts to buff it around towards spot number 2, he sits himself up ready to come in, puts the nose down so he doesn't stall, and he stalls, and works his way in. Right, the critical moment now as the model approaches the ground, you must make sure they don't roll, otherwise they're so light and so fragile they can very easily break. Well, that was quite nicely done.
Oh, yes.
Somebody's law's not on my side today. Now he's setting himself up quite nicely. He's got to watch he doesn't get caught too short. And he's made it. He's made it nicely in. Will he have a better landing? Oh yes, that's perfect. That's the way to do it. We have 1 minute 10 seconds left to go. So he's got to. He can't hurry it down too much yet. Otherwise he'll fall short and won't smash other people's scores as much as he can do.
Yeah.
Because people fly against each other 3 times in a competition, they have got the opportunity to beat other people, different people each time, to make sure they lower their scores. So at the moment, because we work on a percentage basis, this guy is going to be getting the maximum points, the 100%,
Yeah.
and everyone else is going to be judged against him.
Right.
So the longer he can possibly fly the lower he will make everyone else's score.
I see, yeah.
So that will mean that at the end of the day, as it's counted 3 times, he'll be making sure he sticks a better chance of getting in a fly-up at the end. Now, he's hanging on very well here. There's not a lot of good air. He's got to watch he doesn't get caught too far downwind so he can't penetrate back onto the spot.
Yeah.
Because those extra 50 seconds would make the difference between him being a clear leader and only just ahead. 9 seconds to go. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown. How about that?
Oh,
What a landing.
brilliant.
He's in the spot as well, so he's got a good score there.
He's a keen type, he's got a funny hobby. He's a keen type, you know the sort I mean. He's a keen type, he's got a funny hobby. He's